Hello and welcome back to the Vintage Unicorn Beauty Makeup and etc. I am Emma, and today I am going to be talking about my top 5 favorite retailers in the From Me to Kat Von D transformation. And I'm going to be modeling a kind of concept outfit. It's kind of just basic, brandless, but the whole idea of Kat Von D, how I embraced her fashion, is epitomized by this outfit. If you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing and joining the arc. Hop on and we will sail away into the unique sunset while maintaining our individuality while being Kat Von D. Yeah, all right, so I will see you on this side of the video. All right, let's get started. So, I really wanted to kind of hold this video until I got this one stunning Etsy item, but I figured, you know what, I can do this in parts. So I am fully assimilated into the From Me to Kat Von D style, aesthetic, and trying to go with the mindset. I want to talk about veganism just for 1 second, because veganism popped up a lot in the style, in the makeup, and in my everyday diet. And it kind of manifested itself as being a little bit detrimental to my health. I was having issues with skin dryness, particularly around my lips, and I amped up my hydration a whole lot, but there were just some things my body was very used to, particularly animal fats, and I didn't really understand, well, why is there such a big difference between veganism and vegetarianism? Vegetarianism, to me, is like, okay, I'm not eating the actual flesh of the animal, but there is such a huge impact veganism has on the planet that there are undeniable benefits. I just unfortunately have not been able to fully assimilate into that vegan lifestyle. There are a couple things that I have still maintained for a number of reasons. Let's say I eat a steak, you know, so that steak, I live in New Mexico, that steak maybe came from New Mexico, maybe it came from California. Maybe the various pesticides, the various fertilizers to grow the feed came from all across the country. The trucks that had to zip that stuff in, not to mention the massive warehousing processes behind that, you know, dairy and beef model. Those are ecologically just completely horrible concepts. And Kat Von D mentioned several documentaries, which I haven't been able to watch, but just generally watching a lot of nutrition documentaries, I got a lot of information about that end of the spectrum. It's not just don't eat animals. It's consider what happened for that animal to get to the end of your fork. So the obvious difference, I guess, between me and Kat Von D is physical. I'm a lot shorter than Kat Von D. I am over 10 years younger than Kat Von D. I have blue eyes. Like, there are some pretty big differences. I've always been told I look like Fairuza Balk, like pretty much daily. I get that. Fairuza Balk. Oh, you look like that one girl from The Waterboy. Oh, you look like Nancy from The Craft. And that to me is a total, like, I'll take that. Thank you. But Kat Von D has her own kind of style. I've kept a picture with me just to remind me of where my goal is. So one striking thing about this picture and all the pictures, I collected a ton of pictures of Kat Von D to get this going. One thing was her angle of her brow arch was completely different than mine naturally ever could be. So I've kind of gone full throttle with the shaving of my eyebrow arch. So I literally only have this tiny little bit left and I draw the rest in. So the bottom of my eyebrow actually acts as the kind of line for where my eyebrow will begin. So it's not following my natural eyebrow at all. This is an entirely artificial process that I use the 24-hour Super Brow for, and using Kat Von D's cosmetics is not required to have a 100% vegan range. You can absolutely have a vegan range, cruelty-free range with drugstore products, and Wet n Wild is one of my personal favorites for it. So there we have the kind of rough product of my Kat Von D brows. She does have a higher arch than I do, and it goes a little bit, it just has a deeper cut, but my face doesn't really allow for that, so I modified it to both accentuate my eye shape as well as my face shape, because if I were to do a very thin, rounded brow, it would just it would round out the rest of my face. Kat Von D has a beautiful oval face. I have more of a heart-shaped face, and it's a little bit difficult for me to rock the whole rounded rockabilly eye. I'm gonna start doing my eye makeup, and I'm not gonna really talk about my eye makeup because I think there are enough videos on my channel about how I do my eye makeup. I have a pretty set routine, but I would like to talk about where I found the items and where I found them for less. So this whole decision to go for this like Kat Von D transformation actually came from an Instagram post from Kat Von D where she discussed where she got an item that she was wearing. They were beautiful boot covering leggings that came from David's Road, and I followed that website and I found this sweater that I just absolutely had to have, and it was like 350 euros, and I was like, okay, so maybe if I do this and I do this and I don't eat for 2 years, then I can afford it. And then I went to go back to the website so I could look at it and kind of show it to someone and get some opinions on it, and instead of bringing me to the website, it brought me to a Google search of sweaters. And I found almost the exact same sweater made by a smaller brand or no brand company for $15. That is where my entire kind of decision to do this came from. And it really motivated me to look at everything Kat Von D was wearing, because one of the first results when you go to search Kat Von D is, what is her style called? How can I dress like Kat Von D? I continued down the rabbit hole and I just started looking at the basic garment she was wearing, not the brands. And she has discussed some of her favorite brands. Helmut Lang is one of them that's very notable. She discussed a lot of different brands, and very few of them were like kind of what I would consider gothic chic. There wasn't a lot of like heavy Red Couture or anything like that. She discussed buying a lot from small sellers on Etsy and David's Road, and I found Balenciaga shoes that looked very much like boots she was wearing. Balenciaga boots, I'm sorry. So I continued to look and check out everything she's wearing to every aspect, and at the bottom line, they're very simple garments. So there were 5 retailers online that I used for 100% of my stuff. The exception to that being, of course, like the specific skull necklace that she has, which is $9.99, or like the Rannka rings or something like that. But actually the Rannka rings came from one of the 5 retailers. So the first, and I'm gonna order these in order from best to, I guess, least best. None of them were bad. I have a kitten trying to jump on my lap. I am so sorry. I have to keep one hand down there to entertain him. So the first, number 1, is going to be Poshmark. I love Poshmark. I sell on Poshmark, I buy on Poshmark, and generally speaking, you can get some really cool things at fairly discounted prices. So a lot of the things that I got off Poshmark were things like my Moto leggings, or any kind of leggings, a lot of polyurethane leggings or vegan leather leggings. I actually was really interested in a particular brand called Lizzie leggings, and I tried to find a pair that were really nice for a good price, but I started noticing a lot of other kind of brands that had the same thing: structured, slimming, vegan leather leggings. So I ended up with one Rootchi Amica pair and a couple kind of nameless pairs. And I want to talk about the nameless brand thing. A lot of the items that I received are brandless. And one thing that I did intentionally was I avoided anything that came from China in general, and there are multiple reasons for that, one of which being the difference between the item featured and the item that you receive more often than not. Another, of course, being ship time, whether you will get the item, whether you won't get the item. It's always kind of a toss-up. So I didn't go after companies like Fashion Nova had a lot. What's the other big one? Zoffel had another bunch of things that I could have used, but I've generally heard negative reviews about them, about the sizes, about just the general quality of the garments, so I avoided those kinds of retailers and favored other ones. So on Poshmark, I know the location of everything I'm buying, and pretty much everything gets to you in 2 days. Just if anyone is wondering, I am working out of the fetish palette right now, so just in case. The second retailer is undeniably Etsy. Now, I will say something good about Etsy is that you can find the most remarkable, beautiful, beautiful items. Something not so great is that they tend to be higher price. Like, your baseline price is going to be a little higher than Poshmark. On Etsy, you find a lot of one-of-a-kind items, a lot of handmade items, and I absolutely feel that those merchants should be compensated for creating super high quality garments. One item that I am still waiting on, which I was kind of planning on holding off for, but I didn't, is something I got from Etsy, and it's something I don't think I could find anywhere else. Etsy is a very, very neat like online marketplace of so many different things, whether it's clothing, jewelry, home decor, I don't even know, anything. It can be found on Etsy, and it's pretty much guaranteed to be something that isn't going to be seen at your average at your average shop, at your average mall, etc. Number 3 is undeniably going to be eBay. eBay has some pros and some cons when it comes to, looking for clothing that is ethically sourced, looking for clothing that is not 10,000 miles away, etc. And I actually found some very interesting tools that you can use on eBay. And Poshmark also has a lot of tools that you can use so you can broaden your range and so you can kind of pinpoint what you're looking for. eBay has a distance setting. You can look at North America only. You can look at certain countries. You can set it to a mile distinction. You can set to American products or European products, and it really gives you that freedom. Also, implementing that in the search bar, I found, was a very useful way to kind of weed out anything that might, come from something that was made in, like made in a sweatshop and I don't mean to say that in any kind of way. It's just something that I was very conscious of because I was going after a Kat Von D look is I wanted things to be ethically sourced and made in an ethical way. And it just is the truth that when a garment is very inexpensive, there is a chance that there's something not quite right along the way. Another reason why I avoided those kind of, I guess, Sammy dress, whatever, fast fashion websites. You don't really know where they came from. You don't really know what they're going to be when they get to you. They might be using a picture that came from like Free People or something. And I did see a lot of that. I saw a lot of headless models, which was a big red flag on eBay, on every and any website that I looked at. But for the ones that I didn't find those like headless model pictures, I found some of my favorite items that I have right now. I was able to find a really cool Silence and Noise dolman for $6.99. I was able to find a really cool, like, kind of shawl, which I wear almost every day, for $10.99. And really, the biggest advice I can give for finding that kind of clothing is to completely omit the word gothic. If you put gothic, punk, anything like that, sorry, I have a little bit of cold, gothic, punk, anything like that in front of what you're searching, it is pretty much guaranteed to add like $20 at least to the price, because it therefore becomes a specialty item. If I search for gothic sweater, then I'm going to be seeing brands like Dolls Kill. Maybe I'm not even going to be seeing those brands, but there is a premium attached to that word. Whereas if I search Batwing Dolman and set a color distinction, then to black, then I'm going to be seeing a lot of similar styles, a lot of similar looks, and I can filter and pick out, especially on eBay. Now, the fourth retailer doesn't really count as a single entity, but it made up a ton of my purchases, and that is Google. Google Shopping really led my way to some of the coolest things that I have. And all I did, again, was search those kind of keywords, like searching for dolmans. A lot of what Kat Von D wears are off the shoulder or baggy or batwing, and searching for off the shoulder knit, dolman knit, batwing knit, that kind of thing, setting the color that you want, black or brown or whatever, green, whatever you're thinking, and then filtering by price, filtering by location, and just scrolling through a multitude of images, you will find some really cool stuff. Shopping is all a conspiracy, right? It's all a bunch of online stores that just want to make money So strangely enough, as I started searching for these things, more and more started popping up in my Instagram feed, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I started looking at the things that popped up in my feeds, and I found this one store that was so cool. It's called Dracula's Clothing. And while it still kind of falls into that niche specialty gothic kind of arena, it makes beautifully made clothing that isn't crazy expensive. Lights, camera, lashes. So there I have my Kat Von D face. A couple of things that I've been doing. Of course, I've been using the Milk Makeup stamp to get the Kat Von D stars, which I've been getting better at plotting. Another thing I've been doing is I've been kind of lining my lips with liquid lipsticks. This is actually Nosferatu from the Everlasting Lip collection, and drawing higher points on my lips. Kat Von D, either through the same trick I'm doing or through just, you know, wonderful genetics, has a beautiful Cupid's bow. So to match my lip shape, I have fuller, longer lips, and Kat Von D has fuller, taller lips. So to kind of make my mouth a little bit more ovular, a little bit more rounded, I've been just drawing a little bit of a higher arch in my Cupid's bow, and not fully lining my outer lip, but actually going in with a little tiny bit of concealer and just rounding off that lip. So let's get into the clothing. This is kind of just a concept outfit. A lot of the overall looks that I'm going to be doing follow the same kind of structure, which is a batwing, dolman sleeve, very loose, kind of off the shoulder adjustable kind of tunic look. And it's also really warm for the fall. So this is a top that I love, and I probably have in like 6 different versions. One I have is from the brand Silence and Noise. This one is brandless. But keeping it black, keeping it off the shoulder, keeping a little bit of movement in it, keeping it oversized is something that Kat Von D seems to be doing a lot, and it's a very chic, high-end kind of look, even though this top was less than $10. Then, of course, we have the polyurethane vegan leather leggings. These ones also came from Poshmark. They were $12, and they are by the brand Nasty Gal. So I have never done this before, like actually shown so much of myself, especially with my thigh up here and stuff. The only issue with these leggings is they are definitely very like rubby when they come in contact with like just a chair, or, you know, I go to sit down, it's like, I don't know, they make a weird noise, but they look awesome.